I made a cartoon called Janiteers, and in this video, I'm going to go through all of the processes and show you how it was made. First, I go into Scrivener and I copy over the text, then I bring it into Unity, where I put it into a custom script that I made, and it's going to automatically sort it all into scenes and sequences. This ended up being a huge time saver because there's 440 different sequences, and these were spread between 26 different scenes. This custom script adds a lot of automation because it's going to find the characters that belong in that scene or sequence. It's going to number, do naming, and this really helps when you're dealing with that many different sequences. Just last year, the characters were 3D, but bringing them over to 2D as sprites made a lot of sense. When their personalities started coming alive, the colors looked better on the screen, and it still worked pretty well with blending them with the environments. Each character has about 70 different sprites, plus a whole bunch more, including markers and places for different emotions. There's orders and layers and sorting layers, and the combinations are over 1,000 different depending on which body part it is and how far they are from the camera. Many of the environments are from the Unity Asset Store. I worked with a toon shader to try to get the 2D characters and the 3D environments to blend well. This is an area that I think can be improved quite a bit, and I hope if I'm able to do future episodes, this will keep getting better as time goes on. The action systems work as the backbone of the animation. They're going to turn on and off objects and move objects to different positions, scales, or whatever else they need to do. After spending the previous year working on 3D lip syncing, I knew that it was going to be a long and tedious process to do that for every episode, matching the user's voice with their hands and facial expressions. So I'm going to give ChatGPT the credit for coming up with the idea to match the lip sync to the user's amplitude or volume, which ended up working really well. It was kind of the first big breakthrough on the 2D sprite side that told me that this project would be sustainable long term. For the walking animations, I initially tried pairing the 2D characters with 3D models. I had a big animation library that I wanted to make use of, so I was using inverse kinematics to pair the characters together and use those walking and other animations. Unfortunately, only about 1 out of 4 animations ended up working or looking okay, and the walking ones ended up kind of doing this, just they didn't quite look right. Their Z rotations didn't match. So that's when I switched over to a much simpler technique, similar to how South Park does it. To make the eyes come alive, I ended up using randomization for eye movement, so they're going to be looking in different directions, and also random blinking. But there's also a manual for a lot of scenes that need it if they need to look at a certain direction or character, which really help for certain beats. The hand animations was the longest holdout. I really tried to automate this as much as possible because I knew how long and tedious that process could be. Initially, I tried matching it similar to the voice amplitude with the lips, but using their emotions and that amplitude to kind of do this when they're doing hand motions as they're speaking. But it all kind of fell apart and it was generic. It just didn't look very great. They all kind of did the same thing regardless of what they were saying. So finally I built a new method from scratch. It basically takes their rotations of their different arm parts or their head, and you can set them in different poses. So they'll go from pose to pose to pose, and then you can set different durations, delays, make them come alive and be animated at that point. I thought this might take weeks or months to go through and animate, which is why I was waiting so long. It was such a holdout for it. After the whole system was built, I went through the entire show, all 440 sequences, and redid almost every animation in a single day. Now, the show is kind of sparsely animated, so that's part of the reason for it. But in the end, it was such a huge win, time saver, and it ended up looking better than the original design. Audio clips are added directly inside Unity in each sequence, so you can add the sound effects, the voices, environment, music, all right there. And there's a couple little helper functions for things like changing volume or fading out. Working with voice actors on this was a big learning experience for me. It's an area I realized I need to get so much better at. Initially, I didn't want to do live recording sessions. There's a fear there. I didn't want to micromanage and say, hey, do this line up or down, add a delay there. And I realized looking back, it's not optional. And partway through doing this, I decided, okay, I'm going to have to do this going forward because they can't read your mind. They can do an amazing job, but you're, as the director, you still need to, do your job of directing. This editing system was designed for quickness and ease. To add or remove scenes, if you need to retime something, if joke's not landing, you need to add a delay here. All that was meant to be as quick and painless as possible. If you need to change a character's hair color, for example, instead of redrawing 3,000 different frames that they're in, you're going to change it once, similar to a 3D workflow, and then it's going to be automatically set for all of the scenes. Because this is done inside Unity, I wrote a lot of helper functions to save time, whether it's just automatically doing volume adjusting or sprite layers or setting a character's position forward throughout a scene. There's a lot of different tools that just help save a lot of time, and I kind of wrote them as I went along as they were needed. The temptation with tools is that you want to keep making tools to keep making it faster, and you can kind of go on a tangent where you're just working on the tool sets rather than the cartoon. And at a certain point, I had to basically stop myself from making any more tools and say, okay, the cartoon is the priority, not the tools. When finished with the Unity editor, I would create a build of the whole episode and then record it using NVIDIA's recorder, and I found that one to work the best for frame rates out of all the ones I tried. I take that video and I put it inside Filmora where I trim the start and finish, just a couple seconds off of it. There's no real editing done inside a video editor because all of that is done in Unity. And that was very intentional because I knew there would be so many iterations from start to finish that I didn't want to go and have to redo audio and move all the scenes places each time. That was going to be a huge time saver just doing it all start to finish inside Unity. I realized something while working on this video, that I started working in Unity about 11 years ago, and the first project that I really worked on was a sci-fi animated short film. And here it is, full circle. I hope you can take one or two things from this and use them if you're doing your own cartoon or projects. And I actually hope you enjoy the episode of Janiteers as well.
What is new? I find the two of you not doing your job.
Refugees! Of course That's not even the point.
He hasn't spoken to anyone in 3 months, since his parents died.
We have no way off the planet.
I've got it!